Libra. Welcome to 8 of Cups Tarot, and welcome to your cards for May. I am so sorry that I'm running late this month. It just kind of is what it is. It's been a little bit of a crazy month, but as I'm getting into these final signs, you know, my fire signs and air signs, these readings are so in-depth, and I cannot, certainly, you know, I would never rush through a reading, but they're big, they're long, they take a lot of energy, and, you know, I can't just sit and do one after another because they're so substantial, and yours is certainly not going to disappoint at all. So I hope you find that it's worth the wait. I'm throwing in a few extra cards there, spending a little bit more time on things, and if I need to, I'm willing to clarify to kind of make up for the delay in the posting. Now, I do want to say that May is a pretty profound month as well, and I feel you guys are always like, oh yeah, every month's a big month, because I always say that, right? Well, probably, you know, every month always does seem like a big month, especially going into it. We always carry expectations. That's our human nature. You know, life doesn't stop. Things keep moving. Even in situations like a quarantine, life is still very active. We still have a lot of mental activity. We still have a lot of relationships and people in our lives and situations, and things never really slow down to a halt. Even when we're even when we're less active, sometimes there's more of a flurry of activity in our lives, and I feel like May is kind of like that. So a couple things going on in May. You start off with a bang with a really intense Scorpio full moon. I feel like you can't really say Scorpio full moon until you throw the word intense into it, because it doesn't really get any more intense than that. I mean, of course, eclipses and stuff, but the Scorpio full moon kind of opens up the energy for the month, and that's going on in your second house. Very indicative in the cards. In the second week, we have Saturn stationing. Saturn is stationing actually in your sixth house. And then you have, you know, Libra, you're kind of the star of the show. You and Taurus this month. Now, it is Taurus season, but they're kind of getting overpowered by this Gemini energy. And you are too, but in a way that benefits you guys because you're Venusian ruled. And May seems to be answering to Venus. So it's really all about what brings us pleasure, what makes us happy, how we manifest, what kind of what we belong to. Now, if you notice, May starts off a summer of retrogrades. So Pluto went retrograde 2 weeks ago, and then mid-May, along with the switching of the nodes. Now, also know that the nodes have just recently switched over from your 10th house, Cancer, to your 9th house, Gemini. So your 9th house is really getting lit up, and your 9th house is a house of spirituality. It's a house of Jupiter. It's long distance travel. I know travel isn't possible at this time, but it's also the expansion of the mind, learning new things, starting to get in touch with your spirituality. It's a great house for a retrograde Venus. It's, you know, and especially if you're working on writing projects, because the 9th house rules publishing, as well as going back to school. These are all really good areas for you. Lots of possibilities are opening up. And you'll find when we're in heavy retrograde periods, again, Pluto and Saturn, Jupiter will be stationing, Venus will be retrograde. You know, we're in a time in which we're restructuring, reworking, redoing, looking at the past, rewriting our stories, getting a different perspective on how and why things have happened and how we got to where we are, because we're strengthening our souls in order to move on to the next phase. We're all stepping into this next version of ourselves, the next version of our lives. These cycles are very real. And, you know, collective-wise, things are changing at such a rapid rate that on a personal level, we have no choice but to restructure and reprioritize our lives. And I think we're all starting to get a real dose of reality in May. Yes, we're going back to work. Yes, things may start to open. Towards the end of May, we may actually be able to go to a restaurant or, you know, maybe get our nails done or our hair done, and that would be such a wonderful blessing. So in a way, May might bring about kind of an environment of gratefulness for what we have. You know, sometimes the universe shows us contrast so that we can really appreciate the good things, the things that bring us pleasure, the things that make us feel safe. So I get a lot of that in May, but I also get, you know, at the same time, the Saturn stationing. And that Saturn stationing is going to go from your I said sixth house and it's fifth house. Saturn is going to station in your fifth house, your house of romance, and dip back into that fourth house of home. And it's going to do the majority of its retrograde from now until September in your fourth house of home, meaning we have to restructure our foundations. And the fourth house is the most personal, deepest part of your chart. Now, a lot of people can say, well, the 8th house and the 12th house is pretty deep. And yes, the 8th house is deep in how you share with others. The 12th house is deep as your connection to other realms and your ability to pass over. It's the soul's preparedness to enter into another lifetime. Your 4th house is the karma you bring from past lifetimes. So Libras, this could bring up pain subconsciously, emotional blocks, but we're bringing them up for healing so that new doors can open to us. So if you're in a period of what feels to be heavy or, you know, depressed energy, give yourself a break. It's really important. This isn't something that's coming from the cards. This is just me intuitively telling you to take it easy on yourself. You may be not understanding the feelings that you're having or the emotions that you're feeling, like you don't know where they're coming from, and yet you're feeling them all the same. Take it easy on yourself because your soul is really getting reworked. And it's at a subconscious level as well. So it's really not even a whole lot of processing work on your end. You're just sort of feeling and healing as it goes. Okay, let's start with the cards. I do have to say, and I want to look back at my Taurus reading, because, guys, I really don't remember my readings. I channel during them, so sometimes as soon as I turn that camera off, I kind of snap out of it. And I think most tarot cards and psychics will tell you, we don't really remember even what we said, because it's coming from a part of us that isn't us. It's kind of hard to describe. I don't know why I just got into that. Anyways, almost all of my signs this month came out being a very different energy to what they typically are. And you seem to be the exception. Your energy in May is the Prince of Wands. I love this because I love that red and yellow color, meaning you're operating from your sacral and solar plexus chakras. That is beautiful movement. Now, if you remember the card in Rider Waite, it's a man charging at something with the horse, often representing communication. So here you are, Libra, and it seems as though you are poised to speak your truth or deliver your truth. There's movement here. You are fluid. Things become less dense in May, and you're able to operate through your higher visions. And that's a beautiful thing for Libra, because it is the visions that you have, that you know, a vision for a Venusian person, that vision must be brought to life. It's the ultimate goal. It's what brings you happiness. And your creativity. Again, that fifth house. Your creativity has been so on point lately. Your environment. The Wheel of Fortune. And again, look at the backdrop with all the purples and the blues. So that's your crown chakra and your throat chakra, meaning you're voicing your opinions. It is in your sharing of your ideas, the sharing of your emotions, the communication and the repertoire between yourself and others, in which you will gain major momentum this month. A lot of this month relates to who and how you operate with others. Your Rumi card for May is something that I really, really love. Card number 25. You know, I just want to take a second. If any of you are into oracles or tarot, you know, like you just like to have a deck on hand, and maybe in times for meditation, or a good practice is kind of starting your day, and you kind of just randomly pull a card from the deck and read the message. You don't have to be an expert tarot card reader for you to use the tools of divinity. They're really quite simple, and really it's all about trusting your intuition, trusting that the card you pulled is meant for you, and having faith in the message. It's a really good exercise. And I just want to say, these Rumi cards, Libra, there must be a reason why I'm sharing this with you. You can get these on Amazon. The Rumi Oracle by Alana Fairchild. These are really beautiful writings and illustrations in her cards. And I think they're really powerful. So if you're thinking or on the edge about kind of inviting this into your life, this is a great deck to start with for an oracle. I'm actually going to read you a little bit of the passage within this to give you an idea, because this really captures the spiritual overture of what May is going to deliver to you. Card number 25, breaking down to a 7. A 7 is always a number of divinity and luck and gifts headed towards you. beyond the threshold of fear. Oh, what a spiritual marathon you have been running. Now the end is in sight. You are drinking the sacred waters to replenish you from your journey. The cups are pushed into your hands by encouraging angels as you approach that blessed sash marking the finish line. Your body and soul are on this journey together, and now they are ready for victory. And yes, to rest and recover from the effort. Rest now before a new adventure begins from a completely different state of being. This oracle comes with spiritual guidance for you. You have broken through a barrier, a self-imposed barrier of fear, whether it seemed to originate from within your consciousness or from an external set of circumstances that held you back from taking steps you are now taking or just about to take. These steps may feel strange, new, uncertain, and exciting. Your mind might not have received the memo that fear-based existence is no longer in operation for you. It may need a loving, tender, reassuring, and firm update that the relationship you have with fear is now rather different. You are the witness, not the victim. Your consciousness is strong enough to hold it in compassion. You don't collapse under its weight. In fact, it is becoming less and less substantial for you. When it is there, it seems less convincing than what it once appeared to be. Compelling still at times, perhaps, but not anywhere near as powerful as it once was. That power has been claimed by your heart instead. Let's take a second and let that sink in because it is so extremely profound. And that is the energy immediately, probably what you are currently going through right now. Your cards for the first week of May. The Devil. The World in reverse, and the Eight of Cups. This is realizing that Devil represents your fears. He represents what holds you back, what keeps you down. It's that voice in your head that tells you you're not capable, you're not good enough, you're not qualified. It's anxiety, it's fear, it's fearing change. And if you see in the center there, the World card in reverse, it doesn't mean that doors aren't opening for you. It means you're not walking through them. It means you're not taking opportunities because you're afraid, because of the unknown. This could also represent addictions. And again, guys, addictions can be anything. It could be anything from substance to food to eating disorders. It could represent shopping addictions, pornography addictions. It could be about sex. It could be how you don't connect, how you hold yourself back emotionally because you're afraid of exposing yourself to others. This could be a whole array of issues that are very personal to you. But in the beginning of May, you start to see them. You have no choice but to stare that devil right in his eyes. And he shrinks. And you realize how very little and unsubstantial he truly is in your life. The challenge card is the Eight of Cups. So you see it. You will see it, and I think you've been seeing it for the past couple of months quite clearly. I feel like your intuition, because the Eight of Cups is always a spiritual journey, meaning you're being called to go somewhere and do something from a higher being, a higher voice, a higher consciousness within you. It's usually a feeling like you have outgrown a current situation. And that devil is what's making it hard for you to walk away and go towards what is meant for you, your destined path. Now, know also that in the first week of May, actually it happened yesterday, and this will carry out for the entire month of May, the energy of the nodes. The moon's nodes, it's not actually a star or a planet, it's actually a meeting point in the sky of the moon. And as you know, we go through about 18-month periods. It's kind of the eclipse axis. So for the past year and a half, I don't know if you've paid attention or not, but you've heard us talk about eclipses in Cancer and Capricorn. Capricorn was the south node, your fourth house, and your north node was Cancer, which is your 10th house, meaning that you were on a journey towards your destiny, your life path. The 10th house is what you're here to do. It's your karma. It's your purpose. It's your midheaven. It's what you're here to do. And the north node just switched over into Gemini, into your 9th house now. So you have an inkling of what you're meant to do. And now Gemini energy gives you the strength to do that because it's reworking your beliefs. Now we're stepping into an area in which we are getting really firm in our spirituality and our beliefs, but we're reviewing them first and we're making the changes that we have to make. Really important energy because it gets you into a beautiful place. Second week. Saturn stationing in your 5th house. There are improvements, okay? This is a real good indication when the devil shows up next to the Ace of Cups. That usually tells me that we're having a hard time loving ourselves. And when we have a hard time loving ourselves, we have a hard time loving those around us, right? You can't give from an empty cup, Libra. And so you learn to put your foot down and know that it's really important that your cup stay full because a lot of people are depending on you. Libra, you're ruled by Venus. You're ruled by partnership, your ability to conform and your ability to share with others, your need to share equally with others it's a testament. You teach us, you teach everybody in the zodiac how to love and take care of each other. And it really is a beautiful thing. The Chariot card means that you're gaining balance. See, you broke through barriers here because as I lay these cards down, take a second to look at the thumbnail so you could see the way these cards are laid, because me holding them up in stages isn't so. But look what happens. Look what happens in these first 2 weeks. You go from the World card in reverse, meaning doors are open, opportunities are there that you're afraid to step through. But in the work that you do, by the second week, you're not stepping through those opportunities, you're driving right up to it. Look at all that movement. You are coming out as a Prince of Wands, and you are getting the Chariot. Things are changing. You're going places. You are going places with determination, with balance. You're ready. You have all of the tools that you need. The gas tank is full. There's money in your wallet. There's, you have everything that you need. There's solid foundation when the Chariot comes along. That's the card of Cancer. It can represent your home and your family as well. There's improvement in that arena. Yeah, I like that second week for you a lot. Third week. Oh, the way the cards fall. Oh, and you know what? I'm sorry. We didn't. Yeah, let me elaborate a little bit longer on this. The video is going to be long. I'm sorry. I hope you don't mind. I just want to make sure I'm covering everything. Ace of Cups, the Chariot, and Five of Wands in reverse. This is your challenge card. So the thing is, you have to be able to lean more on the love and the emotions and the compassion and the empathy for others, because there may be a tendency to fall back on old behaviors. Old behaviors would be the Five of Wands. It would be ego clashes, and you're being asked to let that go in the second week. And if you have to walk away from something, you're getting a lot of walking away from and leaving energy. And almost in a lot of these pictures, there's movements away from something. Now, I'd like to tell you that's away from fear, but it may also be attached to things you held on to due to fear. I don't see holding on to things being a real big issue, because there's fluid, there's movement, nothing's holding you back now. I don't see a Four of Pentacles. I just don't see that kind of energy. So the Five of Wands, I wouldn't pay too much attention to, but if you're in situations in the second week, maybe there's jealousy issues, maybe a situation occurs and you have a choice between getting in and fighting or just moving away, just moving on and following your heart, knowing that this is just not meant for you. Not getting lost in the ego situations. Like I said, if you're with a partner that makes you feel insecure, that second week, it's like, no, you know what? I'm good on my own. I'm just going to keep on moving because I know I deserve love better than this. And I don't need situations in my life where I feel like I need to compete for somebody's love or attention. I don't need to participate in situations in which I start to question my own self-worth. Five of Wands stuff. Let me go back a little bit, and I apologize. It's funny because I pull these Untethered Soul oracles. I pulled one card for each reading, but when yours came out, 4 of them fell down. Now, I'm trying to do a little bit extra for all of my air signs because you waited and you've been so wonderful and patient. So when these 4 dropped out and I read them, they seemed to coincide with the weeks, exactly how they fell on the table. So I decided to cap off every week with the oracle card that correlates to it. So going back to the first week, in which you're seeing clearly what's holding you back from taking opportunities, and you're starting to gain your strength to move on. Now, you may not take a movement in the first week, but you're seeing it. You're seeing what you need to do, and you're starting to realize that moving on from something is the answer. So your oracle for the first week, if you choose to center and not participate in the extremes, you will come to know the Tao. The Tao always represents the middle. The middle ground is where there is peace. So it's important to remember in that first week that we don't stay attached or dependent. We could be giving up codependency tendencies in that first week. You start to realize that when you love something so much and you hold on to it so tight, you actually create this resistance. You know, like we say, white knuckling things. You create resistance in which, you know, if you do this to another person, the natural reaction is to kind of retract, right? Oh, retract is another retrograde word. Retracting energy from something. So if there's an area in your life where you've poured too much of yourself into, even if it's grief, if you've lost someone and you've spent a great deal of time in the darkness feeling the grief, yes, you needed to, but you're also starting to realize that you need to balance that and stay in the middle. So there's an improvement in that first week on a conscious level. Second week, where we start to embrace love, and I'm picking up very much on a Libra that needs to give themselves love. They need to move on from something, and they need to have compassion and empathy. And your oracle card, energy doesn't get old, it doesn't get tired, and it doesn't need food. What it needs is openness and receptivity. Yeah, Ace of Cups and the Chariot and the Five of Wands in reverse. You're moving away from situations where you don't receive as much as you put into it. I hope that makes sense to you. Having enough love for yourself to walk away from people that drain you and don't give back. It's really exerting this energy and protection around your heart, only giving it to those who have earned it. And that leads to a lot of growth in that third week. Now, guys, I gotta tell you, the last end of May seems to be a little bit of a shit show for just about every sign. You know, it's like the first half of May, we take this giant leap forward, and then the second half of May, we're thrust back into chaos. Now, the chaos may represent being able to emerge back into society, but I don't see it so much for you. The third week, 9 of Wands in reverse. Thank God for this. Knight of Pentacles. Okay, maybe this is a reemergence. Maybe some of my Libras are going back into the workforce or back into an area that's more familiar. Going back to an old way of life. Now, I say that hesitantly because we're never going back to normal. We're never going back to the way things used to be. I don't care what your situation is. I don't care if your life is 100% perfect and the only thing that happened was the coronavirus and the quarantine. Your life is still never going to be the same. But I don't think that's all that's gone on in your life in the last couple of months from the Saturn-Pluto conjunction. So, you know you're changed. You are changed at a cellular level, and your life is different. But now we start to move into more familiar territory. 9 of Wands in reverse. You're stepping out of darkness. You're stepping out of heaviness, of worriness, of this is subconscious, this is mind stuff, you know. It's actually not the subconscious, it's the conscious. It's the open level. It's how we use our mind. And we're cleaning it up. We're freeing it up. Nine of Wands in reverse is if you've been dealing with depression or anxiety, you're coming out of it. Wonderful. You feel lighter. Knight of Pentacles, this is why I say you might be returning to work. The Pentacles often represent money. Somebody may be making an offer to you. Now, Knight of Pentacles, Nine of Swords, you may have been going through some financial pressures where there was a lack of money, and something might come in that third week to help you. Your challenge card is the Nine of Pentacles. So if you are under financial strain and stress, the worst thing that you could do is focus on the lack. Nine of Pentacles in reverse as a challenge card is somebody who says they don't have enough. They won't be able to make ends meet. They may feel like they need to ask for help. Sometimes a Nine of Pentacles in reverse is where we stay in a situation because we're afraid that we can't do things on our own. We're afraid we don't have what it takes to be independent. It's the fear of being single, really. And so you want to be careful of that. If somebody is offering you something, if you know, be careful of what offers you accept in the month of May. I'm sorry, they're like totally resetting me. They're very stern with me when it comes to you. If you're staying in a situation because there is a fear of not being able to go it alone, I think you face that fear in that third week. And remember, we got that beyond the threshold of fear. I don't know. Something might come in, some unexpected income, or somebody may say, hey, I want to invest in you. You may get a promotion. And it's kind of a gift because you've done the work. You got out of that lack mentality. Be careful, though, because there might be strings attached. In this third week is when Venus, in a retrograde phase, makes a square to Neptune, meaning you don't understand all the details. Do not give up on your independence. Okay, that's really important in that third week. Yes, take the job, you need it. Yes, accept the promotion, accept the raise, accept the offer. Okay, but do not start to dissolve into other people's ideas and opinions. Libras can do that. Try not to people please because you're afraid of things. You know, you got to hold your ground. You're moving beyond that fear. I would say a really good suggestion for the third week is to continually repeat to yourself, I am not operating out of fear. I am not operating out of fear. I am not operating out of fear. If you find yourself, you know, let me give you a scenario. Somebody says to you, hey, do you want to go grab a cup of coffee? And you start to panic and say, I can't go meet you for coffee. Now, remember, it's the third week, and hopefully, you know, Starbucks opens soon because I really miss it. But, you know, somebody says, hey, meet me for a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden you start to hesitate, and you immediately think of all the reasons why you can't go out for a cup of coffee. Check yourself. Check that energy. You can. You can do that. You are an independent human being capable of getting in your car and going for a cup of coffee. Take your mask. use the precautions, but yes, you can do this. And remember that fear is holding you back from opportunities. Maybe that cup of coffee is going to lead to a lot more than just a cup of coffee. And so you want to be able to embrace those opportunities. Knight of Pentacles, look. He holds that in his hand, that offer, and it's precious. He takes care of it. He embraces the opportunity. There is nothing more important to true growth than realizing that you are not the voice of the mind. You are the one who hears it. This is what I mean. This is the opportunity to test the strength of the legs that you grew in the first half of May. Now the opportunities come, and it's up to you to say yes. Wow, I love it. Fourth week is a shit show. Remember, we're in an ebb and flow. The overall energy for the month is the Lovers in reverse. Okay, we're gonna get back to that. Let me cover this first week. The Empress in reverse. Oh goodness. The Knight of Wands in reverse. Empress, Knight of Wands. Venus, square Neptune. If you're meeting somebody new, lower your expectations. Okay, really important for everybody, because remember, we're learning balance, we're overcoming fear. If you're interested in the Tao, you can kind of listen out. Wayne Dyer does a really great job teaching the Tao in simple terms and ways that us here in America could probably embrace the best. It's talking about the forgiveness, and the Tao is all about staying really centered. So the Empress in reverse is kind of somebody who is a little overbearing. It's just a little much, The Empress can be controlling when she's in reverse, or in the opposite direction, she could feel really unworthy. And so when you're operating from a low vibration, which is probably because you're not stepping into your Empress power, the Empress relies on her creativity and her magnetism. She attracts from a place that she knows her worth. She attracts people that are good for her. She attracts people that will give, people that will improve her life, people that are concerned for her well-being, people that want to protect her because she's worthy of being protected. Empress in reverse is attracting maybe relationships that aren't so healthy. Let's put it that way. And your challenge card is the Ten of Cups and the King of Cups. Don't jump into situations with people because you think they're a King of Cups. You have to be the King of Cups for yourself. You have to be the Ten of Cups for yourself. You have to really reach a level of loving yourself. You can't get to the Ten of Cups from an Empress in reverse, okay? You're just not there yet. And this Knight of Wands tells me you want to rush into it. Knight of Wands in reverse is kind of like, oh man, you only live once kind of energy, but I feel like you're going to regret it. So be careful. If you're meeting somebody that really excites you, if you're a single person, and look, you're stepping out of an energy of the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. If you're recently single, flying back on the dating season, the dating scene, it may be hard at first, okay? Don't grasp on to things that are less worthy of you because you're afraid to be alone. And do not sell yourself short. Venus and Neptune, you know, somebody could come along and really sweep you off your feet, you know, that Knight of Wands, that, oh my God, this is it. I am just so attracted to this person. And I just see like a doughy-eyed Libra who's just swept away. But you want to be careful because Neptune could really bring to you some people that are, you know, not in it for the long haul. Let's just put it that way. It's not commitment. If you're wanting to have, you know, at the end of the month, Mars does move into Pisces. Yeah. So you might attract relationships or situations that might be really sexual and okay for an experience, but it's not going to get you, you know, this isn't going to be husband or wife material. Don't fall in love. Don't get emotionally attached. This is probably an experience that you're having in a way to get over fears. That's the theme. If so, great. Allow it to happen, but be careful of your expectations. Overall energy. Oh, let me cover this. If you go very deep, that is where you live. You live in the seat of consciousness. A true spiritual being lives there without effort and without intent. If you are attracted to somebody and the love does not seem reciprocated, it's because you're operating at a different vibration from them. Let it be. Do not strive for anybody's attention at this time. Let things come to you. Let things, you know, when you're riding at a certain level of or a certain vibration, you attract things to you at that vibration. So you want to make sure that you're high vibe, that you're really you're really honoring yourself and attracting that to you. And people that give you a hard time, people that you feel like you need to chase, those don't meet your vibration. So don't waste time and energy on it. Lovers in reverse. This month is about finding your balance. Death in reverse. It's about getting the strength to allow the transformation. What are you transforming? The Queen of Cups. Your ability to receive love, to receive empathy, to receive compassion, to attract it to you. I did pull some romance cards for you because of the retrograde Mercury in May, or not retrograde Mercury, the retrograde Venus. You got the Justice card, Temperance, and the Two of Cups. If you are in a partnership, you have to bring balance to it. And that takes time, and that both of you are probably going through intense internal conscious changes, and that you have to allow. There's a matter of timing here, and it just doesn't seem to be time to really come together, but you will. If you are single, you're taking May to work and rebalance on yourself. The Temperance, you might have... you know, like I said, a feeling of 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 4 steps forward, 1 step back, a little give and take. It feels a little bit like there's a process here. But in the balancing of yourself, in the cleaning up of your subconscious, in the getting over the fears, that's where you really start to come from a place of attracting what is truly meant for you. Either way, you have love coming in. There's no doubt in my mind that this partnership is headed your way. If you're in it already, it'll get back on track. If you don't have this in your life, it's coming. But right now, May is about focusing on yourself. It's about getting yourself ready. in May, things are about getting ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to be ready. If you've ever listened to Abraham Hicks, you'd understand that. You're getting ready to get ready. That's what May is about. All right, Libras, I'm going to be checking in some way, shape, or form next Monday. Then mid-months will come out. And until then, I wish you the absolute best of luck. This is a beautiful reading. I think you're in for great progress. Great things are headed your way, Libra. Be kind to yourself and take care. Bye.